Hello everyone, welcome back, and today is February 29th, so I definitely wanted to make a video today because this will be the last time in a while that I would be able to make a Barcelona news video on February 29th. So I just wanted to talk about all the news. There's more talk about Holland, there's some talk about Barcelona and their deal with Nike, and so there's some interesting news to talk about, so I just wanted to make a video about all of that today. And the first thing I wanted to discuss was that Barcelona currently have a kit deal with Nike, so Nike will do the kits for Barcelona and then they'll split the profits, but there was an announcement today that Barcelona are thinking about designing their own jerseys and cutting ties with Nike. And a couple months ago, there were talks that Puma was going to try and be the next sponsor for Barcelona's kits. And to be honest, the past couple years, I think Nike has let me down a little bit just with the Barcelona kits because I just feel like there's really no surprises there. And most of the time, it just looks like every other Nike kit that all the other Nike teams are designing because, of course, they have a bunch of top clubs around the world. And to me, they kind of just look the same. And it would be really interesting if Barcelona turned down the millions that they would be offered from either Nike or Puma or another shirt sponsor, and then they would go try and sell their own kits. And obviously that's a pretty risky decision because given the financial situation, that would be missing out on guaranteed millions from either Nike or Puma or another company, but it definitely is ambitious. And given the current financial situation, I just don't believe these reports because I don't think Barcelona would be in the state to try and do it by themselves because that's missing out on guaranteed millions, that's missing out on marketing. Obviously with Barcelona though, it doesn't matter who's designing their kit, of course they're going to get money from all around the world. But the idea that Barcelona in the next couple years would be designing their own kit and not having a kit sponsor there, obviously that'd be really cool to see. It'd be a very clean kit, but again, I don't see that happening. I feel like Barcelona would either sign with Puma or Nike in the next couple years. And then moving on from that, I still wanted to talk about the Erling Haaland situation because I think we're going to continue to see reports about that. And I know so many people think that given Barcelona's financial situation, there's no chance that this is going to happen. But I really think that at some point in the future, Barcelona might be able to make this transfer happen. But at the same time, that meeting yesterday between Haaland's agent and Barcelona, I just don't think that was all about Haaland. I think there are a lot of players that they probably talked about, but I do think Haaland was one of the names that they discussed. And I think there were some mixed opinions about Barcelona fans that maybe Barcelona don't need a true poacher right now, but I do think he's one of the best strikers in the world. He's one of the most lethal strikers in the world. And of course, he is on Man City, and City, Barcelona would love to play the way that City do. And you saw the couple years before Haaland joined City that, of course, they were still winning the Prem, but they weren't able to win the Champions League. And then in his first season, he did win the treble with City. That was obviously very historic, and I do think Haaland would fit in very well if Barcelona does build the team around him. But obviously, if the Haaland transfer ever happens, what does that mean for Vitor Roque? What does that mean for Marc Guiu? Of course, two players that I hold very highly for Barcelona's future because I think both of those players can go on and be first-team players for Barcelona. But then again, it's Haaland. He's a generational player. If there's any chance, Barcelona, of course, would try and sign him, but a lot of people were trying to say that it was going to be this summer. I think there's almost zero chance that he would be signing this summer. Of course, I always say that dreaming is free, but in that case, I just don't think there's any way that he would be leaving City for Barcelona this summer. And that meeting with Haaland's agent yesterday, it was to talk about Haaland's potential signing in the future, if that. I don't think there was any chance that Barcelona were discussing a possible signing this summer because given the financial situation, there's almost no way Barcelona would be able to do it, and even if they could, it's just not a smart idea to spend all that money on one player, especially given Barcelona's financial situation. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about was the coaching situation in the summer, and it looks like the top two candidates right now are Zerbi and Hansi Flick, and I think those are the two names that we're going to see most often until the summer arrives. And I'm going to be honest, I don't feel 100% about either of those two names, but I really don't feel 100% about anyone. I think if I had to pick Julian Nagelsmann or Jurgen Klopp, those would be my top picks, but I don't think either of those coaches are going to be able to join Barcelona in the summer. I think more than likely it would be a year after that, and I just don't think Barcelona had the ability to wait that long. And there was a report today that Pep Guardiola was recommending Zerbi to Barcelona's board, and I don't think that's true, honestly, but I think Zerbi is a really promising coach. But a lot of Barcelona fans' problem with him is that he just hasn't coached a big team. And Hansi Flick, of course, with Bayern, he has. And of course, the step up from Brighton to Barcelona, it is a big step. It's a huge change. And the pressure, of course, that Xavi has faced this season, really, it's going to be difficult for any coach to manage that. And a lot of people say that Zerbi does match Barcelona's style a little bit more, but then some Barcelona fans also say that Barcelona needs a huge change in style, and they need to be able to compete with the top teams in European competitions, and that's why some fans want Hansi Flick. And for me, there are pros and cons with both Zerbi and Hansi Flick, and to me, neither of them are perfect candidates for Barcelona, but I just think right now, there's really no perfect candidate that Barcelona would be able to sign in the summer. And I'm going to make another video about the top 5 candidates that I think Barcelona are looking for in the summer, and I want to talk about Thiago Motta as well, because I think he's doing great with Bologna right now. I don't feel like he's going to be the next coach of Barcelona, and maybe that's, again, a bigger step than he would want at this point in his coaching career, but still, I think Barcelona, of course, they have a big decision to make in the summer. And there's so many conflicting reports within Spanish media about the next coach coach of Barcelona, but I think for me, right now, the top two candidates that Barcelona are looking for, it is De Zerbi and Hansi Flick. And then the next thing that I wanted to talk about that came out in the news today was the fullback situation at Barcelona, preparing for next season, and it seems likely that Marcos Alonso and Sergio Roberto are both leaving Barcelona in the summer. And for me, that's the right idea. I think Sergio Roberto, he is a club legend. He's been at the club for so long, and he's been through the difficult times, and he's played every position that Barcelona need him to. And of course, he's still the captain of the team, but I think this summer, it is the right idea for him to be leaving. And for Marcos Alonso, of course, it's the right idea for him to leave. I'm not really sure why Barcelona signed him in the first place. I know it was on a free transfer, and they needed a backup left back, but I just don't understand it at all, because at that point, Jordi Alba was still at Barcelona. So it was Jordi Alba, Marcos Alonso, and Alejandro Balde. And then Marcos Alonso kind of played center back. It just never worked out, but of course he's going to be leaving in the summer, and that is absolutely the right idea. And Barcelona have two great fullbacks that are being loaned out right now in Alex Valde and Julian Araujo, and I think that's the right idea to bring both of them back to be the backup right back and left back for next season. And Julian Araujo has been great at Las Palmas under Garcia Pimienta, and I think he would be a great defensive fullback for Barcelona next season. And just from what I've seen, he doesn't look the best going forward, but I think Barcelona, I would love to have a defensive fullback in Julian Araujo, and of course he's still 21 years old. He has a lot of time to grow. And I'll be honest, I haven't been able to keep up much with Alex Valde. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce it, but I think he's on loan to Levante, and some Barcelona fans on Twitter have said that they're really impressed with him, and they're excited for him to join in the summer. And I think it's the right idea for Barcelona to get another backup left back, because I think there was a big burden on Alejandro Balde before he was injured, and I just think it was the right idea to get some reinforcements in that position. And I think if Sergio Roberto and Marcos Alonso leave Barcelona in the summer, and then Julian Araujo and Alex Valde join Barcelona for next season, I think that is an improvement in the fullback position, and I would be happy with that. And there have also been some talks about Serginho Dest potentially rejoining Barcelona in the summer, and who knows, maybe the next coach would count on him. It was obvious that Xavi didn't want him in the team, and that's why he was out on loan at PSV, and I think he's been pretty impressive there. And in the summer, it's possible that Serginho Dest would be joining PSV, because I think they have an option to buy him for around $8 million. And honestly, I think that's the right idea. I just can't see him being a starter at Barcelona, and I think for his career and for Barcelona, it's probably best if he joins PSV, or maybe he leaves somewhere else in the summer. I just don't feel like he's going to be in the plans for Barcelona in next season, but who knows, with the new coach, maybe he would want him in the team, but I feel like it's more likely that Dest is not going to be rejoining Barcelona in the summer. And then another thing I wanted to quickly talk about is Javier Tebas and his comments. He said that Barcelona have 2 or 3 players that they could sell in the summer, and I just think that's ridiculous to say that, because he's supposed to be unbiased talking about La Liga, but obviously we know that he's not. And in all these interviews that he talks about Barcelona's current financial situation, look, we know it's not great, but I mean, for him to say, yeah, they can sell 2 or 3 players in the summer and they can maybe make it work, I just think it's ridiculous for a president of the league to be saying that. And I don't know the exact rules that La Liga have in place. I hope that Barcelona are able to sign some players in the summer. I hope they won't have to sell 2 or 3 players, but for him to even suggest that, I just think that's really odd, and I don't feel like we see that in other leagues. And I'm not on the inside of La Liga, so I can't exactly see what's going on, so it's hard for me to make a fair judgment, but I just think the interviews that he gives, and every single time he's talking about Barcelona, it just seems like he's going to make it really difficult for Barcelona to sign some players in the summer, but I hope that's not the case, and I really hope Barcelona won't have to sell a couple players just to try and register a couple players on their team. Another player that Barcelona have been linked to today is Hermoso from Atletico Madrid, whose contract is expiring in the summer, and he's a left-footed center back, can play as a left back as well, and Barcelona have been interested in him for a while now, so I wouldn't be surprised if Barcelona do sign him in the summer. And I wouldn't think it's bad to have him as a backup, and depending on the contract situation, I wouldn't be against him signing for Barcelona. I think he's a pretty decent player, but I'm not going to be over the moon if Barcelona do sign him, and I'm not going to be too mad if Barcelona miss out on him. I'm not really worried about signing him, but again, it's not bad to add some backup, and he would add some quality to the defensive line. This next rumor is preemptive. I'm just making this up right now. I'm imagining that Barcelona are going to be linked to him in the next couple days, and the player would be Matheus Deit, who's obviously a friend of Frenkie de Jong, and they were just hanging out in Barcelona, so I feel like there are going to be some rumors about Deit joining Barcelona, because he also has the same agent as Haaland, so Barcelona talked with his agent as well. And this is a signing I really felt like Barcelona missed out on when he left Ajax. He obviously joined Juventus. It didn't work out exactly there, and now he's at Bayern Munich, and it seems like Thomas Tuchel, he wouldn't be against selling him in the summer. And I was really hoping that Barcelona would have been able to sign Frenkie de Jong and Matheus Deit from that Ajax team. Obviously, just got one of them, Frenkie de Jong. I'm completely happy with that. But Matheus Deit, I do think he's a great defender. He still has a lot of time in front of him. I don't think it would be a bad player to sign, but I just think he would maybe cost too much for Barcelona right now. And again, I haven't even seen a link about this, but in the next couple days, I'm guessing that Barcelona media are going to push this agenda, that Barcelona are trying to sign Deit in the summer. I just have a feeling that's what's going to happen. So I felt like there was some interesting news about Barcelona today, so I just wanted to talk about all of it. There's going to be more talk about Erling Haaland, more talk about the kit situation, and of course about the other players that Barcelona are going to be signing in the summer, and also the coach that Barcelona are going to appoint in the summer. And as always, thank you very much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day.